Not now. Why are you asking me this? I'll defer to the president and his folks on how they handle this and deal with this if I become president. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. She talks in limited bites and only when she wants to. Lanny Davis knows her better than most. Confidant, close counsel, good friend of both she and Bill Clinton. You know, Lanny, you and I have talked about this. There's one thing about playing it safe, and I see a lot of Republican candidates do this as well, but is that safely getting them in a heap of trouble when they do so? Do you think she should be more forthright?
So if I accepted all your premises, which are not factual or accurate, I would have a different answer, but
She did not answer on Keystone. She tabled it. She was happy to talk about how she disagrees with the administration on other issues, not on this one. Why can't you say as a candidate, this is what I do on this? Boom.
Hey, Neil, you're one of the few people on this cable station that doesn't interrupt me when I'm trying to answer your question, so I'm going to answer.
Well, I wanted to
start out by saying that you didn't state the facts accurately, but here's your answer. She has a position, she stated it, and it makes sense. Her position, clearly stated, is I was Secretary of State when I set up a process to decide. Secretary Kerry is now in the middle of that process, and I'm not going to interfere in his decision-making because I was Secretary of State. That's her position. You may not like it. You may disagree with it. It's not easy. It is true that as Secretary of State, she set up this process. Now that she's not Secretary of State, it ill behooves her to second-guess in the middle of the process her successor as Secretary of State. There's no way you believe that.
There's no way, because then it would have to be consistent for everything, right, Lanny? It would have to be consistent for not second-guessing this administration on how it handled Iraq, on how it dealt with the gay issue, on how it handled a host of others, for which she has distinguished herself and parted company with that. So where and why do you draw a line on this issue versus others? Simply because she could say, well, I was Secretary of State when this happened. She was Secretary of State during all this other stuff that happened.
So you've got to listen to my words, and you usually do that, Neil, and I'm surprised. I said, and these are the words I said, she set up a decision-making process herself as Secretary of State. Not one other issue you just mentioned is comparable. So you missed my words. I'll say it again. She set up this process. She leaves office, and now it's Secretary Kerry in the middle of the process that she set up, and she's choosing not to interfere with the process.
So I love you to death. I don't buy it.
You don't have to buy it.
I know you're giving me the legal reason for it. I'm telling you. You are running for President of the United States. This is one of the hot-button issues that many in your own party are upset about. Many unions who say we want those jobs. Many have argued in the Obama White House that those jobs and the expected number of them is way overstated. Fine. But say something about it. You're running for president. It's your chance to differentiate and distinguish yourself from the White House that you have now long since left. Leaving that aside, we could argue the semantics of this. Do you think she is being too cautious when it comes to dealing with the press, when it comes to talking with the press, when it comes to just directly answering questions on a host of issues?
Okay. No, I don't. You and I have a reasonable disagreement whether in this particular instance her position and her answer is the correct one. You're entitled to disagree with me, and I'm entitled to disagree with you. But no, she hasn't from answering questions. She did answer this question for the right reason. It doesn't compare to any other issue.
Then why is she losing steam,
Lanny?
Then why, if you as a friend and a counsel and a trusted confidant of the Clintons are seeing her, her negatives come up and Bernie Sanders surge in the polls, and you're quite right to remind me, as many have, that polls are fleeting and it is way early. But do you think there is a problem with her campaign style, that she looks good from afar, once in the race, far from good? And this is a serious problem. A lot of her friends and loyalists are worried.
So the answer is she's up 40% over Bernie Sanders in Real Clear Politics in Iowa. She's up 12% in New Hampshire.
So ignore the fact these leads aren't as big.
She's beating every Republican candidate right now, and she's not ignoring. She's addressing every issue, including the Keystone pipeline, which she addressed very clearly. But we have a disagreement on that.
Okay, yes, indeed, we do.